Hi everybody, it's Patricia. So you may notice something different in this week's video, and it is the background, and this is because it's getting darker in the UK, so it's getting harder to film with natural light. So I decided to get myself a ring light, and when I was setting the tripod that came with it, I was trying different angles, and then I saw this one and I thought, ooh, that actually looks really nice because it showcases my fabulous bookshelf and my lilac wall. So I thought, why not? I like it anyway. So today's video is going to be the first in a series of 3, and it's going to talk about my personal growth journey for the past 4 years. It's going to discuss my progression in terms of body, mind, and spirit. And I'm going to talk about my history, what triggered the changes, and what I learned over the past 4 years. Today's video is going to be talking about my physical wellness journey. So all my life, I have always been the big girl, not just in terms of height, but also in weight. I was always the tallest girl in school. I was the last girl at the back of the line, and I've always been overweight. I'm actually known as the fat cousin. In our family, food was always a source of comfort, and it's a form of love language. So if my parents wanted to show how much they care for us and love us, they would always give us food. Portion control was not a thing, and there was always food available in the pantry. So it was everywhere and easily available. But, you know, it's my parents' way of showing love, and it still is. I was one of those girls who always heard, oh, you would look so pretty if only you'd lost so much weight. I remember going to a salon once when I was 9 to get a haircut, and the stylist said to me, oh, you know, you're so tall and you're so pretty. If only you'd lost some weight, you can enter a beauty pageant. And you know how seriously Filipinos take their beauty pageants. For me, being overweight was nothing new. I've been overweight all my life. Family members always encouraged me to diet, to lose weight, to exercise, but to no avail. Actually, the more that they encouraged me to lose weight, the more demotivated I got. So the reverse happened. The more they pushed me to lose weight, the more I resisted. And this has affected the way in which I viewed myself, my confidence, my self-esteem, but we'll get to that later in a different video. For me, the change happened around spring of 2017. My family visited the Philippines to see family and friends. So I caught up with my high school classmates. We visited family. We even went to this fabulous island called Palawan at the side of the country, and we saw some amazing sights and enjoyed a lot of good food. We also went to Japan, and being a Disney family, of course, we had to go to Tokyo Disney. And we also explored the south of the country by going to the Kansai area, specifically Osaka and Kyoto. And if you go to Osaka, you have to go to this place called the Tonbori, which is a food market, and it was the most amazing experience ever. I recommend going. I mean, Japanese food is amazing anyways, but having Japanese food in Japan is a whole nother experience. On this trip, we took a lot of photos, obviously, to commemorate all the fun that we were having. My phone memory was really low at the time, so I was using my DSLR to take photos. And therefore, I was taking photos of everybody, but not myself. And I had to rely on other people to take photos of me. And obviously, I had to wait until they went on social media before I could see it. But once I opened social media, I did not like what I saw. There's one photo in particular that triggered the change for me. I was out with my best friends from high school, and we've been friends since we were 12. And while that may not mean much to most people, it does mean a lot to me because I was a nomad growing up, moving from house to house, moving from school to school. And these friends that I've had are the longest and the truest that I've ever had. So they're very important to me. We went to this place called Tagaytay, which is in my province of Cavite. We visited a craft beer place which had views of the volcanoes which were inside the lake, and it was amazing. We just caught up, we chatted, we were having fun, and afterwards we went to this breakfast place called Antonio's to have some food, have a meal, and just enjoy, again, just keep talking, catching up over what we've missed in the past few years of not seeing each other. And here lies the scene of the crime. So after we had our meal, we wanted to commemorate the event, so we asked the staff if they can take photographs of us. And looking at the photo, it did show us as we are, four friends having fun, enjoying the best time. But all I could see looking in this photo was none of that. It was me in this huge blue blouse that looked like a tent, and my head was too small for my body. And it was because I had to cut off all my hair because I went blonde the year before, and it really damaged my hair to the point where it was snapping off. So I decided to get it cut. So I had like a Kris Jenner hairstyle, and it made my head, I guess, more exposed. Like I couldn't hide behind my hair. My head was too small for my body, and my body just looked huge. And there was me standing next to three other girls who were around 5'3". It was not a pretty picture. Looking at the photo, it really made me feel uncomfortable, and it made me ask questions like how did I get to this place? How did I allow myself to be this big? I've never had a full body shot of me taken in a while, so this was a really big shock to me seeing this photo. And then that made me resolved. I was like, I'm gonna change. I need to do something. This cannot go on any longer. Something's gotta change. I mean, the key to losing weight is as simple and as hard as exercise and eat less. It's as simple as that, and it's as hard as that. Running was the only form of exercise that I enjoyed, and I have done it before, and I found it to be quite relaxing because I get into this meditative state, and I also listen to podcasts while I'm doing it, so I learn a lot of things. But I'm the type of person that needs structure and a regimen. So what I decided to do was listen to Couch to 5K and follow the program. And I also downloaded the Map My Run app to kind of like track my progress and see how far I'm going, how fast I'm going, and seeing if there's any improvement, if there's any progress. For the summer of 2017, I just spent my time completing the Couch to 5K program. I did it before, but I didn't finish it. But this time I was determined to finish it. So if I had to repeat a week, I did it. I didn't mind if I had to repeat it as long as I finished it, and that was the important thing. The thing is, I had to enjoy it, and if I put pressure on myself, that's when I stopped doing things. So I had to make sure that I was having fun while I was doing it. And what was different this time from me doing it before was I had a different mindset. So me repeating a week is not classed as a failure. Rather, it's one more step towards progress so that I can work on the following week. Actually, you know what, funnily enough, the movie Wonder Woman came out around this time while I was doing this, and one scene from the movie inspired me to work out even more. And it's not what you think, it's not Gal Gadot at all. But there was this scene where they were training, and it was Robin Lawley, and she just looked so strong, so tough, just so inspiring that I was like, I need to work out more if I want to be that way. So by autumn of 2017, I completed the program and I saw some changes. My clothes don't fit as tight anymore, and I wanted to challenge myself a bit more. So I'm thinking, now what? And my next goal was to run 5 miles. And the reason why I chose 5 miles is because Nathan Scott in One Tree Hill said he ran 5 miles every day. So I thought, why not? Sounds good. And I achieved my first 5 miles on the 5th of October, 2017. Thank you, Map My Run. And I was so happy and proud of myself for accomplishing that because I never thought I would ever. Then I needed a new challenge after completing my 5 miles. So I Googled what the average pace was for running 5 miles. And Google said 45 minutes. So I was like, fine, I'll run 5 miles in 45 minutes. And I accomplished this goal a month later on the 12th of November, 2017. So now I had my regular exercise regimen, which was to run 5 miles for 45 minutes every other day. And that seemed to keep me going. I was consistent. I was having fun. I was, in this meditative state. I enjoyed it and it was going good. And I found something that worked for me. Now that I had a consistent exercise regimen, I knew I needed to change my diet as well, because as much running as I was doing, I wasn't seeing results anymore, and I knew I had to change my food intake in order to see some more changes. I know fad diets don't work. I've tried them all and I've seen no results. But what I know this time round is what works for me and what doesn't. And for me, what works is it has to be sustainable. The most important thing to me is that I should never feel deprived. And the more that you deprive me of something, the more discouraged I feel. Therefore, the more likely I am to quit. I mean, I love sweets, and I've been known to partake in a couple of, bits here and there of things that I've baked after dinner. And if I wasn't able to have that, I would be most likely to quit. But what I have changed is, rather than have, say, the whole chocolate bar, I would just have 2 pieces of the bar. Which leads me to my next point, which is portion control. Compared to 100 years ago, serving sizes have changed because of the availability of food, leading people to eat more because there's more that's available. What I did was I stuck to the recommended serving sizes of food. So I would have 2 eggs, 2 pieces of toast, or I would have like half an avocado because that was like the recommended serving size. I stuck to the recommended serving sizes on labeled foods, and if they weren't labeled, I had to Google them, which is a bit weird at first, but then you do get used to it. And there was actually a point where it started to be a bit of fun, because imagine having to Google what's the normal portion size for like sinigang. I think recommended serving sizes are there for a reason, because I don't know if you've experienced it, but I certainly have. And it's that point where, you get yourself some food and you're eating it, and you hit a point where you're not even tasting what you're eating, and you're just eating it for the sake of finishing what's on your plate. And coming from, a less economically developed country, I was always told that you needed to finish what was on your plate. So I always finished what was on my plate. And again, portion sizes were not a thing in my family. So I was definitely overfed as a child. So I learned to portion my food. And of course, it wasn't easy. But what I did was I weaned myself out of it. Again, I don't want to feel deprived. It's going to discourage me. So what I did was I weaned myself. So if the recommended serving size for rice is half a cup, what I did was for 1 week, I would get myself my normal allocation. And then the week after, I would just limit myself to 1 cup. And then once I got used to that, I switched over to half cup. And your body does get used to it, and your body feels full, because you don't really need all that food to kind of just like gorge yourself on. It's just you need sustenance for the day. It's not easy, but it is sustainable. And the most important thing again is I wasn't feeling deprived, because I was still able to eat the carbs, the food that I wanted, but just in smaller portions. Another thing that I learned is to eat whole foods. So rather than eating, say, a bar of Galaxy chocolate, I would switch over to 70% dark chocolate, which is actually I like dark chocolate anyway. What I've also learned is to choose the full fat version of something, because what they do, and I've checked the labels on the low fat stuff, is they add more sugar to supplement the lack of taste compared to full fat foods. So go full fat. And for me, what was a big help was pre-prepared meals, especially for days when I'm busy working. So I would spend my Sundays just setting up a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that way I was cooking my food, so I was aware of what I was putting into my body and how much I was eating. I also maintained eating well because I didn't have to worry about where my food was gonna come from, because it's there. I prepared it for the rest of the week, so I'm all sorted. And lastly, I ate what I wanted, where I wanted it. So I don't know if you're the same, but I'm like this. I'm craving chocolate. I want to eat chocolate. But what I'll do is I'll eat carrots with hummus, a banana, or an apple, and then drink a lot of water, trying to satisfy this craving with like whole foods. But at the end of the day, the craving isn't satisfied, and you eat the thing that you wanted to begin with anyway. So what you've essentially done is you've just added more calories into your diet, trying to satisfy your craving in a healthy way. But what you do is you end up giving up. So if I wanted something, I would just like eat what I wanted to begin with. So that way I don't have to waste all my calories on all the other stuff trying to like be healthy, when actually you're just putting more food into yourself, which isn't needed. So just give into your cravings, people. Eat what you want when you want it. Change comes from within. Like I said, all my life, my family has motivated me to lose weight and I've just never done it. But when I decided for myself that I wanted to lose weight, I took the necessary steps to make this happen because I was resolved that I was going to do this because I was doing it for me. Change is incremental. Cliche as it may sound, Rome wasn't built in a day. You have to be patient with yourself because you won't see changes day to day, but the change is happening. It is hard work, and that may sound so obvious, but it is hard work. As much as I enjoy running, it's still a struggle to hype myself up to go out for a run, even though I've known I've done it before. And again, the dieting, the portion control wasn't easy, and you have to find techniques and ways to kind of like deal with it. And it is hard work, but at the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself. Just do it. What I found out is the thought of doing something is actually worse than actually doing it. Say for running, every time I go for a run, I dread it. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't go out for a run. And I always have to remind myself to just do it. You've done it before. You can do it. Just do it. Just run one foot after the other. Take that step. Go. Do it. And it works. The exercise combined with me being more mindful about what I ate has generated results. I mean, if you check my Instagram at Patricic, you can see the progression from summer 2017 into December 2017. I'd lost quite a bit of weight to the point where my friends, family, and colleagues even started to notice and comment on it, which made me really happy because that was kind of the point. I wanted to look nice in photos. A bit shallow, but you know, whatever works for you. And 2018 was much of the same. I just carried this over. I mean, I even started baking pies around spring of 2018. So, you know, I'm definitely not depriving myself of my baked goods after dinner. So I was eating what people were considering as unhealthy food, but I was still losing the weight because I was sticking to my philosophy of portion control, of just eating it when I want it, and I was also exercising still. In the summer of 2018, I actually went on vacation to London and posted a couple of photographs on Instagram, and a lot of people complimented my photos, and again, it made me so happy because I did reach my goal, which was what I set out to do. And in winter 2018, I actually decided to challenge myself a bit more, you know, with those like 5-mile runs. I decided to run the Great North Run in 2019, as well as the Disneyland half marathon, which I've always wanted to do, both of which are in September, which is my birth month, so it was a treat for me. For 2019, I continued to eat well, exercise. There was a period of 4 weeks during the summer where I didn't actually get to exercise because we were in the Philippines for my cousin's wedding and my best friend's wedding. But immediately after coming back to England, it was like I never left. I still managed to do my runs. And actually, I started training for the half marathons as soon as I got back. September 2019 was when I was at my healthiest and my fittest. I finished the Great North Run and the Disneyland Paris half marathon, and I actually enjoyed the experience, which I never thought I was going to, but I did. I enjoyed it so much that I actually signed up for them again in 2020. But after the run, something happened. I was back to that space of, well, now what? I've accomplished my goals. I look cute in photos. I finished the half marathons that I was running. And I thought to myself, well, what now? Winter of 2019, I was running my 5 miles just to kind of maintain my exercise regimen, but I was getting bored with it. I was still disciplined in my food intake, but I was having less fun with my runs. The distances got shorter and shorter, and my runs became less frequent throughout the week. And what I noticed was I started to make excuses about why I shouldn't run. It was either too cold, it was too rainy, I was too busy at work, so I was a bit stressed, which really shouldn't be a reason because for the past couple of years, I ran during the winter, so the weather wasn't really a factor. And not even a trip to Italy could bring me out of my rut. And usually after coming back on holidays, I was always happy, but this time around, it wasn't the case. I went on another 4-week holiday to the States for another cousin's wedding, but when I got back, I wasn't able to pick up where I left off, probably because I wasn't as fit as I was when I went to the States compared to when I went to the Philippines. And every time I went out for a run, I just kept on comparing myself to my previous times, my previous distances. It just won't compare, and it started to demotivate me to the point where I just stopped running. And then the pandemic hit. I was working from home, food was available, I stopped being mindful of my food consumption, and again, it became my source of comfort because I wasn't doing well. It became my coping mechanism, which isn't healthy. And I also had other things going on which made me find solace in food. So as a result, I gained not all, but much of the weight that I lost in the past 2 years, which is upsetting. But the important thing is I've done it before. I know how it works. I know how I work. So I'm going to employ the same methods. And if it doesn't work, well, then I'll adapt and try to find another thing that could work. But I think more importantly, what I've realized is I need to question what changed. Why did I fall off the track? Why did I lose motivation in doing the things that I wanted to do? And how did my thoughts affect my actions? But this is something that I'll be talking about in my next video. I hope you learned something from watching this video, and if you liked it, please hit the like button. And if you wish to hear the next part of my journey, please hit subscribe. And thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!